Please rise and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining. Now I'll call this regular school board meeting of Independent School District number 544 to order. And the first item of business will be to have our stand-in clerk establish a quorum.
Okay, Kelly Graff. Present. Missy Hermes. Melanie Cole.
Present.
Jenny Christensen.
Present.
Kirby Anderson.
Here.
Stephen Davis here. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. The first item of business is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve our agenda as it stands?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. The agenda is approved, and we will move on to a resolution on acknowledgements. A thank you to the Fergus Falls 544 Education Foundation for their donations to the Roosevelt Gym, weight room, and softball field at Fergus Falls Public Schools. I will offer that resolution and move for its adoption. Is there a second? Second. All right, any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, clerk, will you please take roll?
Steve Davis, yes. Kelly Graff.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes?
Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, thank you. We have several reports this evening, and we'll begin with Doug Anderson, our facilities supervisor, giving us an update. Good evening, Doug.
So just wanted to go over a few things. Jeff had asked me, or Mr. Drake had asked me to go over some stuff for staffing and stuff. Right now, in all the buildings, we're pretty fully staffed. We're just waiting for a couple of returns to work from some leaves in the Kennedy building. Just kind of moving on to different projects that we're working on. Just been working with vendors on best pricing type of things for supplies, high-use items, that type of thing for custodial products, and looking forward to summer and trying to for all the items that we need and make sure that we're getting the best pricing we can on that stuff. The other thing I've been just finalizing now this week is gym floor refinish dates for summertime. So we're getting those on the schedule. I worked on with our scheduler and getting those on facility schedule today. So moving forward with that. Some of the other things we're working on for this summer, we're looking at possibly doing some bathroom, just upgrades in Cleveland bathrooms and stuff. Looking at ceramic tile on the walls. Some of the tiles are chipped, and flooring and stuff, dividers, some paint, that type of thing. So we're just trying to get quotes together on that. So we're get that put together shortly here, so we can try to move forward with that. I'll be working this next week with Mr. Drake and Renee on bleacher replacement for the maroon gym. Our bleachers in the maroon gym right now are old enough we can't get parts for them any longer, so and we're having to really work on getting those to move them in and out without manually helping them along. So we're working on that. One item that we have kind of outstanding that's going to be up in the air for a little bit here until we find out what's going on with it is Cleveland roof. We've had several leaks with Cleveland roof, so I'm working with contractors on that to try to figure out what's going on with that. So they'll be coming either tomorrow or Wednesday to do some core sampling and stuff on that, so. Some of the other stuff for summer, you know, we're looking at, you know, like some loading dock, railings, that type of thing, that in the back, near the loading dock area, those landings back there, a lot of the railings are getting really rusty on the bottom and are needing replacement, as well as some step repairs. So I'm working on trying to get quotes for those as well. So just kind of summarizes what we're looking at for this summer, so.
Did the Cleveland roof leak with the snow melt the last few days?
We did have it, not as bad as what it did in the past. We did have to pull some tile today, or was it today or yes?
2 tiles today.
Two tiles today, so, but it's not as bad right now as what it had been, so.
And the gym floor in the gold gym,
Mhm.
is that the one you're talking?
We refinish, so we will refinish, we'll do a prep and refinish on maroon silver, gold, as well as Roosevelt Gym, and then we do the Cleveland Gym as well.
Okay. And
So they will all have fresh finish on them.
Does the maroon gym get, or does it get refinished every summer, or what's the?
Maroon Gym?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Doug for facilities?
I can't remember, is the roof, I can't remember when we had that replaced last, is it under any kind of warranty from,
The Cleveland,
yeah.
it is at this point, but that's why they're core sampling. I think they want to know what the, you know, the layers that were covered up and the age of those, so. So I think that's what they're trying to find out, so.
All right.
Okay,
Any other questions for Doug? Thank you for
thank
the
you.
report.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. We'll hear from Ed Shea, our mechanical supervisor. Good evening.
Hi. This is the first time I've been here to do this. I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of let you guys know what the mechanical department does. A typical mechanical department does heating, ventilation, air conditioning, works on pumps, and fixes general things. When I came in, it was, we're doing this, we don't do this group does this. My goal was to get, when we go in to fix something, people are not afraid to call the mechanical department. So now we help with snow removal. We do some lawn mowing when they need it in the summertime if they need any help. We cover for laundry when they don't have enough people to do the laundry. We will run the mail run. My goal is anytime we get a call, people are calling us and they greet us with a smile instead of, oh no, it's you guys again. So we have a very good crew. I basically come in the morning, we have a meeting, we decide what we're gonna do for the day, and then I go to work and they go to work and they call me if they need help during the day and whatnot. So we run very well together. Just figured I would share that with you guys. The projects, we've got some things happening here in the school that we're in right now. We have some AC units that are 20 plus years old. There's one that we've got in the books now, trying to get done this year, or end of this year, or start of next year. It's in the 4 classroom at the VOTEC. And it's very old, and what I'm trying to do is get a new unit to fit inside the existing housing, so we don't have to revamp all the controls and change everything. And it's gonna be about $54,000. But that's just something we can do we have refrigerator units that are old. The refrigerant in them is R22, which is very hard to get, and if you can't get it, they're expensive. It's just time to do some updating, and my goal with that is to do 1 a year or 2 a year at a time, so that we can get them all brought up to current in this school, and there are 7 units in this school. So this would be the first one that we're working on to see how that would work. The other thing I'm looking at in this school is steam heated. We have 2 boilers in this school, and we heat the glycol that goes up to Kennedy, but we have steam controls in all the areas, and they have air controllers on these steam valves. Air is a very poor use of money because it's very expensive to make. Also, the air controls, you can no longer get the parts for these air controls. So I'm currently working to put something together to where we can get Belimo mechanical hydraulic actuators for the steam valves so that we can operate them that way, and we can get rid of our compressors And that should be a considerable money savings, but it's going to be considerable expense. Those are things that are coming in the future. Any questions for me about what I've brought up?
No.
Okay.
Do you have any commentary on the new chiller?
The new chiller, that's interesting. We have another warranty call coming for that. Out of the 2 new chillers we put out there, only one of them is working. The other one's out on low oil pressure. It's been a warranty deal. They're going to come in April, I believe. April 23rd, somewhere in there for a few days. They need to add some oil to the unit because when they ship these things, they put as little in them as possible to get by with money on their end. Well, after they run for a while, the oil migrates from the compressors out into the system. Then your system has low oil pressure, and guess what? Low oil level, it doesn't run, it shuts off. So they fixed one of them, and it went fine, and then we ran on the other one for the summer, and then the oil migrated out of that system, and now we're back there again. So they'll come for this warranty visit. Shouldn't cost us a nickel, add more oil to the system, but it's been extremely hard to get Carrier to come service us. I've been beating my head against the wall with that. Jeff can attest to that. So that's a good question.
Any other questions for our mechanical supervisor? Ed, thanks for coming in,
Thank
giving
you.
us an update and the overview. I appreciate it. We'll hear from our elementary principal, John Steinbrenner. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me. So I thought I'd break this down again into some topics based on early childhood programming and then transition over to kindergarten. Primary topic for tonight's discussion or my sharing is just with regard to registration for the upcoming school year. It's kind of nice in that at the early childhood level, we don't know who some of these students are yet, and the same is true at the kindergarten level. We don't know who some of these students are yet, and so it's really kind of fun to work through some programming and get introduced to some new families. We opened our preschool registration last week, and we already have 58 applications from families for our 4-day-per-week classrooms. For our 4-year-old classrooms, my fault. We have 46 of those families in our 4-day full-day classrooms. 11 folks are looking for 2 times per week, and only one of those has expressed interest in the 4 half-days. So 80%, the vast majority, are looking for that 4-day-per-week full-time. And so that's just something that we're going to have to monitor here over the upcoming weeks and just be responsive as an organization to ensure that we're able to provide what families are looking for. And right now, what it seems like they're looking for is more time in the building, which is really, really nice to hear. And I think that we can be accommodating to that. What's most helpful is when those registrations come in, and then we can plan accordingly. So that's been really nice to see that. Thinking about our communication with families too, our current 4-year-olds who are with us, we've been working to communicate about what registration looks like for the upcoming school year as those students transition to kindergarten. With that, just a quick thanks to Gina Johnson and the tech department. We took some time and really reorganized the Lincoln School website just so that it was more reflective of the current programming that exists there, and updated some of the images, and it's really user friendly. So just appreciate their work, and that's with that there is a link to the pre-registration aspect. So the pre-registration is open right now for kindergarten families, and that pre-registration step is really necessary in that it helps us to support families navigate Synergy and that parent portal, which is user-friendly after you get used to it, and sometimes it's just nice for us to be there on the front end to help families through that. The true registration for kindergarten will happen on March 1st. That's when that opens. But in the meantime, any families that are looking to sign up early for kindergarten for the upcoming year, pre-registration is open now. I should say all of that information can be found at kindergarten.fergusotters.org, and that's that new updated website, so kindergarten.fergusotters.org. I mentioned last time I was here that kindergarten meet and greet is on March 21st. We've sent out some save the date invitations for that to families. And the end of this week, actually going out tomorrow, is just another mailer to families coming from Lincoln School, both with QR code registration for our early childhood preschool programming, as well as a QR code link for kindergarten. So we're just really trying to do some things to help families navigate the process of getting signed up for preschool and for kindergarten. Kindergarten Right Start, which is part of kindergarten readiness to ensure that we have all the information we need and we're presenting families with the information they will need as well, is June 3rd and June 4th. I believe we're not going to have any more snow days, and so we're in really good shape. I'm just going to put that out there into the universe, and that will help June 3rd and 4th really stay put. But we've built ourselves a little bit of a buffer there, so I think that'll come through. The sign up, there is a sign up for that Kindergarten Right Start, but that's just embedded within kindergarten registration. So we're trying to limit the links and the clicks and the sign-ups and the forms and try to streamline it as much as we can. Again, that mailing should be received here by the end of this week for families, and it's just a postcard. One more bit that I wanted to share. I touched on this briefly the last time we were together, but when we talk about readiness for kindergarten, I mentioned how our early childhood special education department has been making some changes. One of the things that I was able to observe last Friday was some transitional programming that's taking place. It was a great example in that there was a student there who was identified at the beginning of this year as being eligible for some individual educational needs. And then that student has now gone from the referral process, which is Help Me Grow, was identified and determined to be eligible. They've been meeting with the family in individual sessions, but now the student has been invited in to join a small group. And it's a small group of other students with individual needs, and they're building some capacity for just introduction to the school setting, and following schedules, doing transitions, doing table work, familiarizing yourself with adults that are outside of your immediate family unit. And these are some 3 and 4-year-olds that will hopefully transition into preschool next year. But I think the lovely part here is it's a case where we're identifying early and trying to prepare students rather than age 5 at kindergarten being the first time that some of our students are experiencing the school setting. So just great job being done there by our early childhood special ed staff. Transitioning over to kindergarten, last week, I believe it was last week, I'll say recently, we celebrated our 100th day of school, and that was a blast. Fun was had by all. The students were really excited. I will say that every day at kindergarten is fun, and the teachers work really, really hard at that, and they invest a lot of time and effort to make it a fun place to learn. And it's a tremendous atmosphere at Lincoln School. We're also currently celebrating I Love to Read Month. We've had a number of guest readers come in. Thanks to the community members for taking time out of their day to share their love of reading with our students. On Thursday of this week, we're wrapping up our second trimester. So we're Minnesota math here, 66% of the way through the school year, and it's just really flown by. It's kind of nice that we are bookending that with parent-teacher conferences then the following week, so that'll be a nice opportunity for us to share with parents some of the progress that's being made with their kindergarten students. Lastly, I think it's important for you all to know that we're making good use of the sledding hill, kind of an unpredicted sledding hill that's on the west side of the building at Lincoln School. For some of our students, it was their very first time sledding, and it was a pretty joyful experience. So making good use of the facility and finding some of those things that are kind of unexpected surprises. All right, and that's what I have for you in my report tonight.
Thank you.
John, just one quick question on, so kindergarten registration roundup is on 21st, it's a Friday. Do you have the time? I think in the afternoon, isn't there 2 sessions?
Oh, yeah, there are. Thanks,
Yeah,
Kirby.
just mention
The first session is at 12:45, and then the second session is at 2:15. And there's no need to register for that kindergarten meet and greet. That's just showing up when it works for families. Thank you.
Right, and this will be the first time that we've had that link. I know last year it was
Yeah, was that
at McKinley.
McKinley last year, and
Yeah.
we've talked through that a little bit, just as far as logistics, and I think it will work just fine. We're going to have it take place in the library. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you,
Thanks,
Principal Sternberg. All right, and next, we will have Ivan Nurse speak to us, principal at the middle school.
Good evening. I'm going to start with our second quarter honor roll. I think this is just kind of a good rule of thumb about where things are at. We had about 66% of our students make the A and B honor roll. So about two out of every 3 students make the honor roll. I think that really speaks pretty highly. I didn't look it up, but I remember it was in the 70s on quarter 1, which makes some sense as we start working on harder topics. But 66% of our students make the honor roll. A number of events that we've had since the last board meeting, but we had the middle school musical. The Little Mermaid was collaborated and directed by new teachers, Mr. Larson, Mr. Knotts, and Miss Hintz. They directed The Little Mermaid, performed for the middle school on Friday, February 7th, and for the public and for everyone else on the evening of the 6th. It was a really great show. Must have been the music. No, the kids really did a great job, poured a lot of energy into it. It was really great. I hope you had the chance to check that out. Earlier in May also, we had our math counts competition at the middle school level. We had 13 students went to MSUM, and our team placed first in the team competition, and they advanced to the state tournament. Pretty big deal. Happens from time to time. Members were Kate Johnson, Ian Nasri, Saul Anderson, and Jacob Warner. Cade was also the first place individual, and he will compete at state in the individual competition. And it's worth noting that Jacob Warner won the countdown round, so kudos to them. Overall, a really great day. Mrs. Steer runs our math counts competition at the middle school level. We had our spelling bee update. We had our school spelling bee in January, and then the regional competition. You're probably all up to date, but I'm going to mention it anyway. Over at Lakes Country Service Co-op, our competition was won by Eli Schlosser, and he also won the Region 4 spelling bee. And so for the second straight year, we're representing, our middle school is representing at the Scripps Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. So him and his family, I just got an email from Miss Schlosser, and the whole fam's going. We're going to take this in, and that'll be really great. So congratulations to Eli. He'll be a great representative for us. The middle school honor band is performing at MSUM on Thursday, February 27th. Maren Carlson, who performs on the alto sax, J.D. Froning, French horn, and Benny Kitzman on the trumpet will represent our school at the Honor Band Festival at Moorhead State. We have our middle school parent-teacher conferences. Those are scheduled for March 3rd and 6th. Like Mr. Steinbrenner mentioned, remember, we have some new people, but our 7th and 8th graders do student-led conferences. So they have a template that they fill out to talk about their experience, and they come and they do most of the talking with prompting from their class, or from their Otter advisory advisor. So tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us more about that. Our advisory, kind of wrapping this all up, our students are about 14 or 15 kids per advisory in 7th and 8th grade, and that's how they do their conferences. You do it with your advisor, so all the teachers have their advisory students that they work with for conferences. And we're also having a book fair at that time, which usually coincides. Any questions about parent-teacher conferences, especially for the new people? Pretty good format. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention today was we had our second session of Saturday School. Saturday School is offered for students that fail a core class. So reading, writing, arithmetic, and social studies. If you fail that, then you make up the work that you should have did the first time. We don't make you come all 12 or 13 sessions. You just finish what you should have done when you probably rather be sleeping. And so we communicate with families with text, calls, get your student there. We've already had 5 kids graduate in two sessions. So that's certain now. We'll hold those through the end of, I think like the last one's about May 10th, right in that area. So, yeah, Saturday school's rolling. That's all for my report. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Principal Hurst. Next, we'll hear from Principal Mark Anderson, High School.
Thank you. I went just route this time because we had a bunch of kids off campus doing some really cool things. So I know he's got some of the other stuff in his presentation. I might have stole a couple of things from his. I shared it early with him. Fergus Falls, I have my laptop up here too because I can't see the small print over there very well. I'll try my best. Our ALC, so the ALC is working together with M-State to talk about early college through NDE. The program is opportunity for ALC students to actually take college courses. They would actually take them like a PSEO on that campus. The difference there is, unlike our students who get some counseling help and support, there's a lot more into it for the ALC students because they have struggled traditionally in school, but it'll be a traditional opportunity for them to be off campus, getting college credits, and meeting the requirements that they have for M-State. It's not 100% sure, but it's a process that we have to go through for about a year before we can even entertain the opportunity. So it's something Carrie has started with the ALC staff and M-State. The ALC students enjoyed February 14th. They had Otter Advisory, and they have all kinds of cool activities. They get out and have enjoyment and fun that last week. They had activities were dodgeball, speed mazes, volleyball, Pictionary, and brain teasers. Mr. Rodriguez's advisory won. I keep saying his name as the gold or silver all the time in all these competitions. I think he handpicks his kids. Mr. Burlingame won silver and Miss Corby won bronze. The traveling trophy will stay with Mr. Rodriguez in his classroom for the next year. Did you have any in last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're handpicking kids, aren't you? All right. Enrollment at the ALC is still at 86. We'll probably have a few seniors possibly move that direction, trimester 3 if they need to. IQ Academy, they had their skating event last Friday. No, 2 Fridays ago, February 14th, Valentine's Day. They had about 20 students attend. The enrollment is listed there, 246 at the elementary, middle school 205, high school 499 for a total of 950 kids in IQ. I bolded, and so did Ryan, the next thing. For the first time ever, our students who are at the high school who take IQ classes but are in our building, not one student failed last trimester, so it was our last semester. So it's the first time ever that an IQ student who's part-time and does most of their schooling with us at the high school didn't fail a class at IQ. IQ is sending over, they're sending surveys to students, parents, and learning coaches to get information. We're working on a brochure of all the things that we do well, and we're just asking parents information on what are the things that we do well, what are the things you'd like to see us change, update, how can we best support you. Same goes for our students, and then our coaches and staff are also filling that out for us so we can move forward in that direction. Passing rates for semester 1, middle school at 77% and high school at 80% passing rates. IQ had 331 withdrawals, so if you add the number Ryan has up there with the number down below here, the IQ staff actually saw 1,296 kids first semester. They'll continue to onboard through the end of quarter 3, which is March 21st. In April and May, you get to the point where you're so far into the semester that it's a catch-up to get all the stuff you didn't have already completed. So, and this is also a reprieve for teachers because it's hard to get a kid in March, end of March, early April, and then get all that content taken care of and get them to that final piece. So they're doing really well at the IQ Academy, and I appreciate the work they do over there. Philanthropy and youth. So we have a group of kids that are run by Mr. Abrahams and Miss Christensen. I believe, Mr. Drake, you are also part of that group at times too, visiting and getting information. So their opportunity is, part of their goal is they have to go out and communicate with local businesses or organizations, and then they have to determine from those interviews who gets the money that they have for donations. They get some money from the group, and they get to donate to that to our local community. And this year we have the 544 Foundation, the Friends of the Fergus Falls Public Library, Fergus Falls Dollars for Scholars, Lakeland Mental Health, Otter Tail County Humane Society, LB Homes Foundation, and Hospice for Red River Valley. It is always interesting to figure out who they present to with their money. I think it's up to $5,000 they can choose to give to the group, one person or multiple groups. So they determine from their interviews who will receive the funding that they're offered to give to our community in their process of the philanthropy that they do during the school year. I'm excited to find out who they choose. English pen pals. So a former high school student, Joe Greco, followed Mr. Millard's footsteps and has his first teaching job in Japan. And they started connecting their classrooms, and now we're exchanging pen pals for students who are interested. So I have a couple examples up here of some of the things they're asking simple questions of. One of the young ladies over in Japan likes cats, so this young lady drew her a picture of a cat in her note that was handwritten to her. So really cool to see a former student following a teacher's footsteps, and then begin to connect our students with students from Japan and hear about their cultures and traditions. So it'll be interesting to follow how this goes for the rest of the school year. Our health class at the high school, each trimester, we have new sets of students. So 194 kids, give or take one or two, will have gone through the health class. They complete CPR, AED, and first aid training. The students perform CPR with adults, a child, and then an infant. And they also learn where the AED machines are and how to use them. So one day each trimester, Ms. Wickland sends an email out to all the teachers in the building and just says, FYI, you're going to hear kids running through the building. We're checking out how far it takes and how fast a kid can get to an AED machine if they need to from certain places. I'm glad they know where they're at in case they ever need to use it on me. In the first aid class, students learn how to respond to various illnesses and injuries, including seizures and severe allergic reaction, diabetic emergency, frostbite, hypothermia, heat-related illnesses. Interesting part is the people who do this for us, that come in and train our students, actually talk about former students who have saved lives and things. Hence, this didn't happen last Friday, it actually happened 2 weeks ago. Two of our students were at a movie theater and actually saw someone having a seizure, called the ambulance, and were able to help support that person while the ambulance is on their way. So they took their information, they were confident in the things they learned, and implemented it right after they had finished that section of their unit in health. So it's nice to see the things that they are learning also help our community outside of our high school. The Automotive Skills Fest. We had, this is Mr. Whiskey actually took 9 students to this Ridgewater, to the Wilmer Tech, and students competed in 2 sessions, automotive mechanics and auto body. And 3 of our students took prizes, and students took the 5 of the 6 top spots. Gabe Samuelson took first place. Really neat here is because he took first place in auto mechanics and second in auto body, he won a $1,000 scholarship and $200 in tools. Elijah Herdina took second place in auto mechanics, and he won $100 of tools. And Jonah Gullickson took third, and he won $50. And Andy Crucera placed third with auto body and won a sweatshirt and a hat and t-shirt. That might not be as much as the other ones, but I guarantee if you walk in the autos class, he has that on almost every week. All the students did a great job. I will say this, that Mr. Woodsky and Mr. Heikus do a phenomenal job with our basic autos and autos class. And other students who won were Ian Meyer, Wyatt Higseth, Eli Herdina, and Hudson Donahue, Dondano, and Joseph Heikus. So they did really well up there. Also took kids for the same competition for Ridgewater for gas welding. Ian Knudsen completed a gas welding competition and took second place. So he's a freshman, so it'll be nice to see what gains he makes over the next 3 years, and if he can take first place as he continues with Mr. Woodsky. Kyle Beck, I can't remember if Mr. Drake had put this in one of his presentations. But about a month ago, he was in the welding competition in Morris and took 5th place and won $250 welder. He took 5th place. So as you can see, our kids are doing well in competitions. We do not have his picture, we couldn't find it. Our nursing class, 4 of our students were also taken by Mr. Witzke for KCNA students. They placed 2nd, and Savannah Sandoval, Sienna Rodriguez, Zoe Graham, and Ellie Fiedler did a great job over there. One of the young ladies met me today and I congratulated her, and she said, well, there were only 2 teams. And I said, well, you had to beat somebody to take 2nd. We took 2nd here and took 1st in another competition that they found out later. All State Music, this happened 2 weeks ago also. So our students were able to go down with some of our teachers and actually perform, and they had to go through all kinds of contests. They were recognized at our state send-off for the hockey girls team. They spent a lot of time putting these videos in to get selected. So the SA and the TTB and S is alto, soprano, and bass and things like that. So for the girls, Christina Franzen, Olivia Swanson, Zoe Jacobson, and Hannah Scharnberg. We also had Clayton Peppel, and then we had Elise Bailey and Bella Rude. And in orchestra, we had Alexandria Groutberg and Josiah Huberud and violin. So it was awesome to see that number of kids go down. We actually had, I think they said 1 or 2 more kids than they were allowed to send down. So it was awesome to see that our students are doing well in the music and are being recognized throughout the state for their in the competition and opportunities. There are additional links of information about what went on when they were down there. And then there's also photos that Mr. McGowan took while he was down there for all the music students. College calculus with Mr. Rodriguez. So Mr. Rodriguez, who teaches at the LC, does teach an hour a day up at the high school, and he has a college calculus class. So he did something most high school students and teachers don't do. He had students write a paper using mathematics. And they had to apply to different fields such as engineering, economics, and sciences. I don't think they were really happy when they got the assignment at first, but they did an outstanding job. They focused on how to write a mathematical paper. They incorporated the mathematical symbols using APA style. So the students worked really hard with that. They also explored topics on how calculus plays a role in economics, heart monitoring, machinery, sports, betting, and several others. The depth of the research and the connections it made between calculus and real-world applications were outstanding. In talking to Mr. Rodriguez, his college professor looks to take his unit here and implement it in his college and is asking for the rubrics. So the project highlighted some of the benefits of integrating writing and mathematics, critical thinking, communicate complex ideas clearly, and it obviously extended beyond the classroom. So I haven't seen them yet, but I would love to be able to read them, so I'm going to ask him here in the future if he still has them, if I can see what they wrote. It's really outstanding to see it. And one of the kids said at first he was not real thrilled, but at the end he understood, and it was actually something he learned quite a bit from. So I appreciate Mr. Rodriguez stepping outside the box here and thinking differently for his mathematics class for the College Code. Work-based learning, the dates on the left have been all the places that work-based learning classes have been off campus to visit. They meet 1 day a week with Mr. Hill, and they go to all these different places each week, and all the kids have to attend there even though they don't have their work-based learning day or internship there. They get to hear what each other does, and these are just examples of some of the things that they were presented. A person from the military was there presenting on careers. We have a young man who's working construction, and then obviously we have a young lady across the street doing working in eye care facilities. So a lot of kids doing a lot of different things. Like I want to say almost at this point we have almost 115 kids who have done work-based learning and will complete work-based learning before the trimester 3 is over. It's been a great experience. A lot of our kids truly figure out what it is they want to do, or even better, they figure out what they don't want to do before they go out into the real world. It helps them guide themselves into a career path. One of the other things that Mr. Hill did is we have a YST grant, and we connected the opportunity for the heavy equipment tour. So we have a multiple business, Ziegler, RDO, Titan, just in our own community. And he took a group of kids out, I think it was 8 to 10, who are interested in doing this for a career, and had the opportunity in each to see the local businesses, talk to people who work there, and have a little fun playing inside the machines and getting information on what a career in that facility might look like. Just found this out yesterday. Mr. Solon, our social studies teacher, was nominated by a former student who is currently teaching in Sauk Center, that he is the MCSS High School Social Studies Teacher of the Year. So he was nominated by a student for the social studies and his connections and the relationships he's made. And so congratulations to Ethan for what he does every day for our students in our classrooms, and not only learning about social studies, but also the relationships he builds that are very well connected and continues to grow as they move on into their careers. Other things at the high school, we did complete registration. We had about 69% of our students come in and register for us. 9th through 11th graders came in one night. Our seniors also that night, or those 2 nights, presented their senior presentation on what path they're taking after high school. We have 8 more students who have not yet completed that. The 26 PSEO students who did not have an honor time got to present to me, so I have 5 more of them to complete. The information they shared with us is outstanding. We gave them a cheat sheet. We told them exactly what we wanted them to share with us on what their plans are, and kind of make sure that they have that taken care of. And we were really elated on the information they gave to us. They're prepared to get out there and do what's next. Trimester 2 ends on the 27th, and we start on March 3rd for trimester 3. We will have a senior graduation meeting in mid-March, and I will be presenting to PSEO and CSI students and parents on March 11th coming up. And that's all I have. Are there any questions? Okay.
Oh, with the CPR, do they get a certification for that?
They don't get the certification for it, it's just an opportunity for them to come in and be trained on how to do it, and they know that because it's part of that process. They can't be held accountable for trying to save someone's life.
Sure.
So they go through that process also. To get certified it's expensive. It's a whole lot more than what we pay. The 2 guys that come in are longtime Fergus residents, and I think they give us a really good deal. Because when I talk to our teacher who does it for early child development, she pays way more money for it than these 2 do. So we're looking at actually going to him, these 2 gentlemen, to do it for her instead in the future.
And then I think sometime it'd be nice to have our work-based learning coordinator maybe present that at a work session, just because I would like to talk about it a little bit more, because I think it's a great program that I'd like to see expanding. Just real quick, how do local businesses get involved with, and then what kind of qualifications do you need to have if you're a business owner?
So basically, if a kid is looking for an internship and a business is okay with it, then Mr. Hill will communicate with them as that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
The YST, so our YST grant, we have 5 or 6 companies that have jumped on board on that with us, which is a whole other level of expectations that they have to do. So they have to go through and make sure all the requirements for that to happen, where kids get to go much more in depth of what a normal student would do in a work-based learning activity.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, we have a junior that's going to do this again next year. She wants to be a surgeon. She watched 42 surgeries first trimester. So she didn't pass out, so she's like, I'm good. But we've had kids who have done the same thing and said, I can't do that, but I can stay in the health field and do this instead. And then they go that direction instead. But the kids always feel like when they try something that they think they want to do and it doesn't work, it's a failure. To us, that's a success. That means you're not spending extra time in college or after high school doing something you're not going to enjoy. We have OSHA training. All the kids have to go through all those things. They spend the first 2 weeks just pledging through or going right through that. So it's a big deal. We can certainly have him come. He'd be happy to share the information, and he might bring a few kids with.
And the businesses do have to provide, businesses also do have to provide proof of insurance.
Yep.
I have had a couple kids and I have to list the high school as an additional insured,
Sure.
have all that paperwork to make sure that everybody's covered.
So then as a business owner, I don't mean to take too much
Nope.
time, but do you have to provide feedback back to the school? Because it's not just like free help, you know?
No,
It's,
no, yep,
uh,
no, every week there is a whole sheet that I have to fill out with the student. I go over it, we make goals for them at the
Yeah.
beginning of the trimester. This is what I want you to learn, this is what you're going to achieve by the end, and then I get to tell them if, you know, if I think that they actually approved, you know, got through all of that, and it's a whole process.
One of our seniors wants to be a lawyer and is working at Pemberton. She's been doing a lot of the work for them to get to trial. They're going to trial this week, and she asked if she could be excused for the day to attend, because they asked her to, and I'm like, you bet. So,
Hey, Mark, one other opportunity that our students have as far as internships, you mentioned philanthropy youth. They have a second program besides the grants to the nonprofits. They also will fund internships for students in our community that go to work for nonprofits, and they'll pay for up to 9 weeks of employment, 32 hours a week, and that's fully funded by that very foundation. And then the third leg of that thing is they also any of the students that participate in the pay program, philanthropy and youth, can apply for scholarships. And I know we've got a couple of kids who scored some $20,000 scholarships, and then UND and NDC matched them. It's a good deal.
brothers both got the
Yes.
same.
Yep. So it's a really good program that they have, and it's pretty much in this whole region.
Yep.
So I'm glad we're participating for the last couple of years.
All right, any other comments or questions for the high school principal?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. And a presentation from the superintendent, Jeff Drake.
Well, good evening. Start out with the thank yous. So last Wednesday, the 19th, was Minnesota School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. So with thanks and gratitude to Otter Tail coaches for the service they provide to our students. And certainly, rain or shine, we're out there picking up students and first ones to greet a student in the morning, and oftentimes the last person to wish them a nice evening. So appreciate our partnership and all that they do to support our students and families. I won't go over this in any more detail other than, again, to congratulate Ethan on a well-deserved award. And until Principal Anderson spoke, I didn't realize he'd been nominated by a former student, which I think makes it extra special. So hard worker, does a wonderful job representing our school district, and does a great job in the classroom with the kids, and very well deserved. Lots of student accomplishments again to share with you, and you heard principals mention many already tonight. But we had the high school math league team on a very successful season. It's not over yet, but they were division champs and section champions, and will compete at the state tournament on Monday, March 10th. 3 individuals on that team ranked in the top 10. So congratulations to Josiah Ugerud, Eric Swanson, and Tommy Erickson. And a special shout out to Eric Swanson, who finished #1 individual in their section, and he will also compete as an individual at the state tournament. We have a section wrestling champion, Caleb Browning at 160. They're all tough weight classes at the section tournament, but 160 is kind of a natural weight for a lot of high school age students, so that is really a wonderful accomplishment, and a very hard worker, and someone that has continued to rack up many, many victories so far in his Otter wrestling career. We also had, and good luck at the state tournament to Caleb, we also had 3 other wrestlers that had really nice individual tournaments. Cass Hartwell at 133 placed 3rd, Nolan Field at heavyweight 285 placed 4th, and then Levi Butke at 114 pounds placed 5th. So congratulations to our Otter wrestlers. Congratulations to senior Ryan Hurst on scoring his 1,000th career point as in a win over Fargo Davies. So a really nice accomplishment. And Ryan is also a student that has put in a tremendous amount of work to enjoy the success that he is having. Congratulations to Bryn Sternberg. Bryn set the single game assist record recently with 15 assists in one game. The previous record was 13, so congratulations to Brenda and her teammates. Girls hockey team finished a fantastic season. They ran into a bit of a buzzsaw in Orono down at the state tournament, but then bounced back with a real solid game against Marshall, but lost that game in overtime in the consolation bracket. But still a great honor and great experience for those young ladies to be competing in the state tournament. We're very proud of them on a fantastic season. Principal Hurst already mentioned Eli Schlosser, only a 6th grader, and he's coming out of our region as the champion. And we also, as Principal Hurst mentioned, had the district champion a year ago. So we wish Eli well in his trip to Washington, D.C. School events, this was just the flyer for the kindergarten meet and greet coming up on Friday, March 21st. So parents and families can be aware of that. We also have the senior yard signs that are on sale right now. Parents, grandparents, etc. can reserve your senior lawn sign. The proceeds of this help to support our staff wellness. So it all goes to a really good cause. Student learning, we're just finishing up. February is I Love to Read month. We had Rebecca Meters, high school nutrition and wellness students, have a guest speaker, Emily Flattow, Otter alumni, and she's a food scientist at KLN Family Brands from Perham. And so she was talking to our students about the work she's doing and careers in food science related professions and industries. So appreciate our graduates coming back and sharing their knowledge in helping our students make career decisions and learning what other occupations are out there, and this one not very far away. The high school REACH classes achieved the Art REACH grant from the Cadets Galleries in Fergus Falls, so they had the opportunity to have some art exposure from a professional artist, and appreciate those opportunities and the support of the Cadets Galleries. And then Principal Steinbrenner had mentioned 100 days of school celebration. And this one, to really adequately get the gist of it, you really had to be there in person. So I had the opportunity to go down there or visit Lincoln on the day that most of the students were dressed as 100-year-olds. And I would say the staff really got into it as well. And just the creativity, the amount of extra time and effort by our staff to put a special event or special events like this together for our students really says a lot about the dedication of the folks working on behalf of our kids. And then the legislative platform, I'm only going to say this. There are bills flying off the table right now in both the House and the Senate. It's really difficult to find out where the dust is going to settle when this thing is all said and done. As our legislative advocates indicate that there are bills on the House or Senate floor that may impact public education. We try to get our advocacy and testimony in, but in the end, this process will come down to the final weeks in May or early June, and we'll find out once the dust settles where things align moving forward. I do have another community connection that I would like to extend an invitation to. That will be right here in this space, Tuesday, March 18th from 5 to 6 p.m. and hope people will show up. And then open it up to questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to our general consent items for the meeting tonight, and for consideration and approval in this motion would be the minutes from our February 10th, 2025 regular school board meeting, and then approval of bills. So I'll turn that to you again.
All right, so if you could see from the fund summary, we are sitting at about $199,000 for building construction. Renee mentioned that most of that is Lincoln. We're probably looking at about $190,000 of that being the Lincoln Lincoln bills that we're paying out. There isn't a whole lot of that left. We should be done with the Lincoln project and that bond very, very soon. And then the rest of that would be the water main break. There was also $77,000 in IQ Academy for the service, like just the online services. In addition to that, there was about $20,000 for PSEO tuition that is going to be charged to IQ Academy. I'm not sure exactly the logistics for that, but she said that it was, we were able to take care of that. Another huge chunk of our bills were Amazon purchases that were mostly books, and I believe that is from Love to Read Month. A lot of books were being purchased for classrooms for that, plus also winter gear that was purchased from the funds that the NAS had donated to us for winter gear for the classrooms. Those are being used as classroom supplies. The kids are not allowed to take that home. It is just to be used if a kid is in the class and they want to go outside and they don't have gloves or don't have a hat or anything like that. There was also $3,600 for some Apple, some MacBooks for teachers. There was a roof leak at Roosevelt. We also had about $5,400 for furniture that was purchased for the SPED programs because we didn't get any furniture after we split from the co-op, so we had to replace that. There was also $1,200 for the community ed for a concealed carry class. We are assuming that was for range fees. $9,700 for Lakes Country for lease space for our level 4 programming. $4,300 for the Minnesota Indian Education Association, and then a whole slew of bills that were paid for the Lincoln project. Quite a few of those, but there's probably only a handful of those that are coming out. And then we'll be done with that.
All right, thank you. We have several personnel items to consider for approval. A certified staff retirement, Julianne Ellingson, special ed teacher at IQ Academy at the end of the school year. Certified staff leave of absence request, Sue Rinke, request for leave of absence for the 25-26 school year. We have before us an administrative hire, Amanda Griffin, as our HR director, effective March 31st. Support staff resignations include Ruby Cook, a special ed para, and Cassie Forster, special ed para. Both would like to resign from their positions. Head coach hires for our approval are Travis Johnson as head boys golf coach and Derek Abrams as head boys tennis coach. So with that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
Is there a second? All right. Any discussion on the items before us? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. We have old business, and this was tabled from the last meeting, vending machine agreement with Braun Vending, effective March 1st, 2025. And so with that, is there a motion to, well, I'm going to just go out of Robert's Rules of Order and just have the superintendent give us a short update.
Yes, thank you. So with this agreement, it doesn't mean that we're restricted to a single location, Kennedy Secondary School, but it sets up the parameters for a vending agreement. If the district were interested in adding additional vending machines to other sites, and the vendor thought that they would be profitable for their business, we could certainly expand where those will be located and utilized in the future.
All right, so upon reinterpretation, the contract before us doesn't preclude us from adding to Cleveland. It just have to be a proposal with the vendor and see if that was something I wanted to do. So the original motion is still before us, the contract which we reviewed before last meeting. No, not necessarily any adjustment to the contract, but an explanation to how that would proceed. So I am seeking a motion to approve that contract. Would somebody offer that motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Is there any discussion in regard to the vending machine contract and how this is proceeding? It would just be a commonplace comment for me to make that if the staff would like a vending machine or even to establish their own pay for snacks kind of set up in the teacher lounge, they could begin that internally. Talk to the principal at Cleveland School, try and get, and maybe establish it that. But sincerely, that would be where the momentum would begin if we want to have that reconsideration for what we've got outlined in our contract. Any other thoughts or comments? All in favor of approving the vending machine contract with Broad Vending effective March 1st, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved, and we have before us for new business just a couple of resolutions. And so we'll continue with that. We have a resolution on the retirement of Julie Ellingson, whereas Julianne Ellingson began her employment with Fergus Falls Public Schools in August 1990, excuse me, and whereas Julie has been a valued employee with Fergus Falls Public Schools for the past 34 years, and whereas Julie has been a dedicated special education teacher for the district, and now therefore be it resolved by the Fergus Falls School Board to thank Julie Ellingson for her 34 years of service to Fergus Falls Public Schools. Would someone offer that resolution and move for its adoption?
I'll offer the resolution for its adoption.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the resolution? All right, clerk, will you please take roll?
Kelly Graff,
Yes.
Melanie Cole, we're forgetting your guys' names all of a sudden. Melanie Cole,
Yes.
Jenny Christensen,
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Stephen Biggessar, yes.
Right. The resolution passes. Thank you. The next resolution is the 24-25 American Indian Parent Advisory Committee resolution. And whereas the school board or district has and we'll just call it by its moniker, APAC, composed of parents and guardians of the American Indian children who are eligible for Indian education programs, American Indian language and culture instructors, including indigenous foods, drum making, and storytelling, American Indian adults enrolled in educational programming, and American Indian representatives from tribal communities. Whereas the school board or district affords the APAC the necessary information and the opportunity to effectively express their views concerning all aspects of American Indian education and the educational needs of the American Indian children enrolled in the schools and programs. And whereas the APAC is directly involved with and advises the school board and district staff on Indian education program planning, and whereas the APAC develops and submits recommendations to the school board and district staff pertaining to the needs of American Indian students, therefore be it resolved that the APAC concurs that the school board and district are compliant with Minnesota statute section 124D.78, and that the school board and district are meeting the needs of American Indian students. Will someone offer that resolution and move for its adoption?
I'll offer the resolution.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I didn't actually know we had more than 100 Indian students, and I should have known that. But I thought it was a much smaller group, honestly, so it's just more of a comment.
Okay.
It's a much bigger group than most people think, probably.
Any other comments or questions before we take a vote? All right, clerk?
Kelly Graff,
Yes.
Melanie Cole,
Yes.
Jenny Christensen,
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Stephen Biggessar, yes.
All right,
Resolution is adopted.
Thank you very much. So we will adjourn our meeting and then have a work session to follow. Just a couple comments about the work session. We have our school lunches brought in for the board to eat because frequently we stay here for an hour or two and discuss different topics. So we will pass out food and be eating. We'll continue forward. We're going to have a presentation tonight from the high school principal, Mark Anderson, about post-secondary enrollment options. And that will be the kind of the gist of it. The work session is not a continuation of our meeting. We don't vote there, but we also don't take public commentary. It's still not an open forum for that. So with that, our next school board meeting will be Monday, March 10th in the same location. Would someone offer a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, thank